4 goals, 2 points shared between Tottenham Hotspur and Liverpool, but that is barely the story at Anfield in an incredible finale. Paul, how do you explain what happened? We had the missed penalty from Harry Kane. Liverpool thought they should have won it in injury time with a worldie from Mo Salah, his second of the game, and then another penalty for Tottenham.
Staggering goal from Mo Salah. The first half for me, Tottenham really didn't get out of first gear. They were a shadow of themselves that we saw that they played so well against United previously. Liverpool were excellent. They got on the front foot. They got the goal, and they looked as though they were in total control of this game. Then slowly but surely, we started to see Tottenham go a little bit higher up the field, put a little bit more pressure on that defence, the two lines of Liverpool, and we could just see that it was starting to waver and just crack a little bit. Klopp goes to his bench. Brings on Oxlade-Chamberlain, one or two little tinkering with the situation. But an incredible equaliser from Wanyama. I mean, what a finish that was. His first kick. The problem I have with that goal is if you look at it, Oxlade-Chamberlain lets him just blow past him. Look, the finish was incredible. But now, with it 1-1, you could see this game was on a knife edge, and it turned out to be so.
That was just the start of the drama. Yeah. The major incidents that followed, 3 of them, a penalty for Tottenham, offside for you, for Harry Kane?
Yes, 100% offside, yeah. But I do feel that it was a penalty. Fantastic save from Karras, not a great penalty. Maybe a little bit of pressure on Harry going up against the cop end. So, you think, what else does this game have in store? And a few moments later, when Mo Salah picks the ball up, there were people have been debating whether he was offside. He wasn't offside. Wanyama slipped. The assistant referee was perfect. He was in a great spot. But the skill from Salah was just at that particular juncture of the game in the 90+ minutes was phenomenal. Klopp thought they'd won it. Liverpool fans thought he'd won it for them. But we had another twist.
And Harry Kane trying to get his 100th goal by and by, really, as Mo Salah drew level temporarily when he was at the top of the goal-scoring charts. Yeah. Harry Kane, the bottle to step up and take that. But all the controversy will be about the linesman's decision to award that penalty against Van Dijk. Well,
to be honest, Eric Lamela, for me, he's not one of my favourite players, but that was a fantastic piece of thinking by him. He rescued Tottenham a point. Why? Because of his game intelligence. He got in between Van Dijk. Van Dijk, I don't think, was aware that he was around, and he kicked into the back of Lamela. It's a penalty. And the assistant referee was right. Nobody in Liverpool wants to hear that, but if they really sit down in the cold light of day tomorrow, say, you know what, he's kicked him up the backside. If that's anywhere else in the field, it's a foul, so it's a penalty. And I'll tell you what, for Harry Kane to step up, as we said earlier, he missed one in front of the cop, to step up again for his 100th goal in front of the cop, he buried it unbelievably well. And was it a fair result? First half, Liverpool were hands down the best side, but credit Pochettino, credit the Tottenham lads. They pushed Liverpool really hard at the end. But what an unbelievable advert for the game that was.
Both sides only take a point out of it. Seems unfair, really. But what will both sides really, just briefly, what will they have learned from it?
I just think that Pochettino has got to instill in his side that we can't just turn up for periods of games. When you're playing the top sides, the top sides are going for second, third, and fourth. It's as simple as that. The top sides have got to come to play for 90+. You can't just put a half a shift in. He will be instilling that in him. I think Klopp will look at his tactical changes, because I think he should have took Firmino off. Firmino is a sensational player. He's a focal point in that Liverpool attack. Whatever they do when they press in high, whether he's holding the ball, whatever he's doing, he's the focal point. And I just thought he was losing, a little bit of gas. And in the end, Oxlade-Chamberlain was a great sub coming on, right in the engine room, right where Tottenham were in the ascendancy. And I just think maybe he can be a little bit more aware of his changes at vital stages of the game.
Okay, well, it may not have done so much in terms of the Premier League table, in terms of where these sides now sit. But of course, we've got Chelsea against Watford to come on the Monday as well. We'll see if the top 4 picture looks any clearer. But from Anfield, an incredible finale finishes. Liverpool 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2.
Welcome to this week's Premier League Saturday wrap. A lot for me to say. Burnley's good season continues. Great point at home against Manchester City. You're not bothered about City dropping points. I know you're not, because the league's already won. It's over, it's done. But that was a good comeback from Burnley in the end. The honeymoon period is over for my old teammate Paul Lambert at Stoke City. They were winning at Bournemouth. Bournemouth came back to win 2-1. Great 3 points for them, as it was for Chris Hughton's Brighton and Hove Albion. That 3 points could go a huge way to securing their place in the Premier League coming the end of the season. A long way to go, but that's good signs down on the south coast. Good signs for Swansea as they continue to pick points up under new manager Carlos Carvajal, but it will still be a long old season in my opinion. And yes, Riyad Mahrez didn't get his move to Man City and nobody's seen him since. He didn't pitch up and they're not very happy with him there. Understandable. Expected win for Man United. Alexis Sanchez got his first goal from the penalty spot after the goalkeeper saved it. Big win for the Saints at West Brom, who are now well and truly rooted at the bottom of the table. Alan Pardew has a big job there to get them to safety. And Arsenal, with Aubameyang, Mkhitaryan in the side along with Mesut Ozil, absolutely crushed Sam Allardyce's Everton. It was 4-0 after 20 minutes. It was a complete obliteration. There was a hat-trick for Aaron Ramsey, and it was back to winning ways for Arsenal after the shambles of the defeat at Swansea. Well, we thought we'd have a little look at what is a very tight bottom half of the table in the Premier League. You know, what is it? 3 points separate 18th, 17th with safety. Stoke City in the final relegation slot, 27 and 24. Obviously West Brom a little bit out of the moment. Now, this says Craig Burley's relegation picks. That's not quite true. There's 5 guys down in the basement in digital, and me, that is 6. So we come up with a little plan. We asked a few questions. It's a dark, dingy basement down there. Doesn't look great. Neither do they. I asked them. So it was a bit of a, you know, we had a bit of a confab in there, and you know, West Brom, a lot of people said no, West Brom are going to be safe. There was the odd discerning voice that said West Brom are going to go. I personally think West Brom are going to get out of it. Now, we've highlighted the 3 teams in yellow. Those are the teams that we think are going to go down. Watford's name was mentioned, but they've got a new coach. I think they'll be all right. I don't think West Ham are going to go. I think David Moyes has enough there. Brighton Hove Albion were mentioned, but they had a good win today. Now, Southampton, they were brought up for different reasons. One, because somebody's a big, very big Southampton fan, and the other because they're not very good. But did get a good result today. Crystal Palace, I don't think will go because Roy Hodgson's experience. I think Palace will get out of it. Huddersfield was pretty unanimous for the lads, and they've been sinking quick. I think they're in big trouble. Newcastle, if the takeover had happened when Mike Astley had sold the club and they'd spent big in January, I think that would have been great for them. It didn't happen. And I think it was also pretty unanimous that Newcastle are going to go. Swansea was a bit of a 50-50, and I can understand that. But I had them to go at the start of the season. That's why I got to keep them in there, because I'm stubborn. But a lot of the lads thought they might get out of it. And I can see the kind of sense in that. Carvajal's come in there. They're on a great run, picking up some great points, and got another good point at Leicester. I can see the argument for that, but I've had to pull rank in the end, and it's Huddersfield, Swansea, and Newcastle to go down. And if you've got any complaints, get in touch with them, not me.
Barcelona rested Leo Messi for the first time in La Liga this season, amidst a deluge in Spain as he took on the derby rivals Espanyol. They played them in the Copa del Rey recently. This was a real battle, a real throwback with the conditions. Puddles everywhere.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I thought it was going to be called off. I mean, especially when Espanyol went a goal up, I thought, OK, the referee's called this off. Because it was difficult, the conditions were difficult, the ball wasn't rolling, it was sticking. But as you say, Barcelona just about fine enough. When the great man came on, 59 minutes, ironically, Espanyol scored. But when the service was there, when the ball was required to be pumped into the box on the free kick, it was an unbelievable pace on the ball at the right height, and Piqué very aggressively attacked the ball and put the ball in the back of the net for a 1-1. And you could see it was basically going nowhere because the conditions were really, really bad. But so it wasn't a true test of either side, to be honest.
And really, Piqué's drawn a lot of criticism from some for some of his comments about Espanyol, particularly. Obviously, there's a lot of
there's a local derby.
There's a lot of needle there. He had an interesting game, didn't he? Missed his clearance for the headed goal, and then scored one himself.
Exactly. When the ball came in the box, I think most normal central defenders would have headed the ball away. It was a fairly simple header, but he decided to do, I don't know what you would term it, like a karate kick. He got his leg up really high, missed the ball. And it looked like a fantastic ball in, but it should have been quite easily cleared by him. So he resolved himself and to get the equaliser. But it wasn't a very good goal. To be honest, tempers were flaring a little bit towards the end. There was a little bit of nasty stuff. Titi got himself involved after the final whistle, but it all sort of calmed down. But it's understandable because it's a local derby.
Yeah, they'll take that, take a point. It's only their fourth draw of the season, and obviously winning the other games, they still have a very healthy lead. But with the two behind them playing each other, it was an opportunity they couldn't quite take this time around.
The Friday newspapers linking him again with the Azzurri. Could he actually go back and manage Italy? Could he leave Chelsea? Bosses on the brink, saying some of the English newspapers. Conte responding in the press conference on Friday, saying, speculation about my future? I don't know why. I have 18 months on my contract at Chelsea, and my will and desire is to fulfill this. Of course, former Italian legend Costa Curta is in charge of recruiting for Italy. On Conte, he said he's had 18 months left on his Chelsea contract and would respect it. We'll see. He is still a candidate, according to Mr. Costa Curta.
Not exactly.
What do you make of it, Craig?
I've not exactly got a conveyor belt in Italy at the moment, particularly not after the back of Ventura being coached, right. how bad he was. So the desperation is there, it would seem. I don't see this guy being here next season. I think there's a chance he might not be here at the end of the season. I think he might not even see the last few games of the Premier League season out if they lose to Barcelona over the two legs, which I'm presuming at the moment, the way they're playing, they will. I think then there could be some sort of agreement between the club's owners and board and the manager, because he never seems to have been happy in London. Even when they were winning in the league, even when it was a 13-game winning streak, there's always talk about going back to Italy and how he hadn't quite settled and whatnot. So I just see his exit sooner rather than later.
Stuart, what do you make of this constant speculation with Mr. Conte?
Well, I think right at the beginning of the season, it was obvious that Conte didn't want to be there. He's fallen out with the hierarchy. He was unhappy with their transfer policy. He was unhappy with one or two players. He was unhappy with the way Costa, or he tried to get rid of Costa and eventually did so. And I think he wants to go. And the reason he's put that statement out is to get as much money out of Chelsea as he possibly can. Rather than him walk out, he wants Chelsea to sack him so he gets a big payoff and then he might walk into the Italy job. He's on his way out. There's no question about that. And there's troubled times at Chelsea ahead.